జాతీయవాద జర్నలిజానికి అసలైన వేదిక నేషనలిస్ట్ హబ్ ని సబ్స్క్రైబ్ చేసుకోండి. నోటిఫికేషన్స్ కోసం బెల్ ఐకాన్ పై క్లిక్ చేయండి.
The act of seeing and being seen by the divine is known as the darshan. Traveling to sacred locations and doing pilgrimages are traditionally required for obtaining darshan. The spiritual importance of a journey serves to remind us of our relationship with God. The idea of darshan has been essential to the Indian spiritual culture since the beginning. Being near a god, teacher, guru, or a sacred object is claimed to allow one to attain higher state of awareness, wisdom, and freedom from the cycle of life and death. This concept gave rise to the custom of going to temples and other holy places, including the Ganges and other religious rivers, to seek the divine graces. Pilgrim darshan is not just a physical meeting, it's a profoundly spiritual and life-changing event. To make a direct connection with the divine, devotees approach the sacred entity with respect and dedication. The pilgrimage was earlier by only foot, and the pilgrimage believed that there is no fruit without suffering and think that the virtue is gained only by the journey. The Hindu and the Jain pilgrimage sites are numerous and diverse, keeping in mind the various sects and the traditions of the religion. They are associated with various deities, legends, festivals, rituals, thus representing the diversity of the beliefs and practices and maintaining the theme of devotion, purification, and salvation and harmony. Some of the most important Hindu pilgrimage sites are the Char Dham, the four most sacred pilgrimage sites for Hindu located at the four cardinal directions of India: Rameshwaram to the south, Dwarka to the west, Puri to the east, and Badrinath to the north. Each of these sites is dedicated to different forms of Lord Vishnu. The Char Dham pilgrimage is a journey of salvation and liberation from the cycle of birth and death. Then we have the Sapta Puris. These pilgrimage sites are rich in history and tradition and are associated with many Hindu gods, goddesses, sages, saints, and heroes. The Saptapuri pilgrimage is also a quest of enlightenment and purification of the mind, body, and the spirit. The Shakti Pitas are pilgrimage sites where the jewels or the body parts of goddess Sati fell. They are temples dedicated to the goddess Sati. There are 51 Shakti Pitas in India, Sri Lanka, Bangladesh, Bhutan, Nepal, and Pakistan, several of which are also referred in the Vedas. Each Shakti Pita is supposed to reflect a different aspect of the Hindu goddess, Shakti, who is worshipped as a divine feminine power in Hinduism. The Jyotirlingas are where the Lord Shiva manifested himself, and it is thought that it was on the night of Ardha Nakshatra that Lord first appeared on earth. There were originally 64 Jyotirlings, but only 12 are regarded as the very blessed and revered. The names of the presiding deities appear on the 12 Jyotirling temples is said to be the distinct manifestation of Lord Shiva. There are numerous Jain temples and shrines that beautifully capture the essence of Jain religion and its teachings. Pilgrims visit these places for their exquisite architecture and learning about Lord Mahavira and other Tirthankas. The four principal sites associated with the life of Gautam Buddha that make up the pilgrimage circuit are his birthplace in Lumbini, the place of enlightenment in Buddha Gaya, his first sermon in Sarnath, and the final resting place in Kushinagar. What you see here is a world map according to the Buddhism. Pilgrimage maps have played a major role in shaping the identity and culture of India. They are not only representative of physical spaces, but also reflect how different religions, sects view themselves and their relationship with the land, the journey, and the society besides connect with the divine. They show significant cultural and religious landmarks as temples, sacred sites, architectural and historical characters, as well as how tradition passed down from one generation to another. Pilgrims usually follow specific rituals along the route, and they may also receive blessing from religious figures along the way. One can imagine how pilgrimage map contributed to the formation and transformation of the identity and culture of India. The map explains the significance, these maps explain the significance of each sacred site. They also frequently depict the spiritual and cultural significance of the sites, as well as the symbols intended to inspire spiritual meanings. By including these aspects, Indian pilgrimage maps hope to bridge the gap between physical and spiritual realms. Many pilgrimage maps are based on oral traditions in which experienced pilgrims and local guides verbally pass down knowledge. The oral transmission of the information has ensured that the cultural and historic insights have been preserved. Many Indian festivals have a strong connection to pilgrimage sites. Pilgrimage maps highlight these linkages, increase the cultural relevance of these festivals. These festivals become the very reason for many pilgrims to take the yatra during a specific period of time. Also, by studying these interesting details on the pilgrimage map, people can gain an understanding of the different culture, religion, and customs of different regions and over a time frame. They also served as a guide for continuing of tradition and imparting information of significant neighborhood, temples, mats, dharamshala to be visited, and rituals to be performed. These maps are frequently embellished with rich artistic representations such as paintings, drawings, symbols, demonstration of cultural inventiveness, and aesthetic expression. But the most important use of these maps have been liberation through darshan without traveling. For thousands of years, religious journeys or places have been portrayed in maps and paintings, allowing travelers to either participate in the journey they were unable to physically conduct or revisit through remembering. Rather than just serving as a guide to the area, the map also intend to allow one of the virtual experiences of the journey around the physical landscape of the sacred site. The image of the tirtha serves as a means to carrying out the voyage by proxy, just as gazing at a deity serves as a mean of gaining contact with the divine. As a result, looking at the map takes on the significance of a religious experience. In the same manner that modern followers watch footage of journey on television or online and participate in the spiritual activities in the neighborhood. I will just take you through some of the maps from the Kalakriti archive collection to highlight what all I have been talking about right now. Advadipa Pata or the cosmology maps are part of a Jain as well as the Hindu tradition. They are meant to represent the universe and its various components such as gods, demons, and the mortals. They also represent the physical and the religious worlds as well as the spiritual journey. The maps serve as a guide for devotees to understand the spiritual merit associated with pilgrimage and to believe to help people attain goal of moksha. This is why such depictions are often called Advadipa Pata, or the painting of 2.5 continents. In Jain texts, the universe is divided into 3 worlds: the upper occupied by the god, the middle by the mortals, and the lower by the demons. Basically, the lower belonging to the damned. The most significant is the middle world, the Manushya Loka, or the world of the mortals, where liberation from the chain of rebirth is possible, and the jinnas and the saints and the devotees are born. The world of mortals is abstracted as a diagram of concentric circles. The blue circle and the narrow streamers represent the water, while the buff in between areas represent the land masses. The inner continent is encircled by two oceans and two further continents. The outermost landmass ends with a chain of mountains and shrines with sages or jinnahs at the four quarters. The center circle is of particular significance as it depicts the Jambudipa, the island of wood apple trees, which includes the Indian subcontinent with the cosmic Mount Meru at its very center. These are the jinnahs on the corners of the map. These are the Satrunjaya Patas. Painted maps depict the pilgrimage circuit of the sacred Jain site of Satrunjaya or the modern town of Palitana in Gujarat. The key purpose of these paintings is to provide a panoramic view of the key shrines, the pilgrimage route, and a significance features and episodes from the devotee's path. They often served as a surrogate for those often aged or informed devotees who were unable to visit the site. They displayed on the festivals and special occasions and were viewed by a large congregation of priests and devotees and supposed to have provided the same merit as they would have visited the site. The artist depicts the topographical context of Satrunjaya Hill with its two ridges, which you can see very clearly here. The first ridge is dominated by the main temple complex of Adinatha, while the other is a setting for 9 smaller temple complexes patroned by the Jain merchants. The site overall comprises of 65 temples, over 300 small shrines, and close to 5,000 deities. These are 3 interlocked connected pilgrimage route map depicting the river Ganga and one of its chief headwaters, the Alaknanda, running from Haridwar up till the shrine of Badrinath in the Garhwar Hills. These maps are read from left to right. The scroll is plentiful, supplied with inscriptions naming sacred places, villages, mountains, and trees. The river Ganga is depicted as coming from the right bank and it goes where the Bhagirathi and Alaknanda meet at Deoprayag, where pilgrims are depicted bathing and washing their clothes. There is a large temple dedicated to Ramchandra and 2 magnificent banyan trees. The pilgrimage path continues up to Alaknanda. In the first scroll, the river depicted branches as it goes around Haridwar. The fortresses are noted on both the sides of the river. In the second section has a lot of temples and villages. The Narsimha temple is presumably the famous one at Joshimath, which is the winter headquarters of the priests from Badrinath, who bring the deity and the treasures down before the temple is completely cut off by the snow for 6 months. The yellow line which you are seeing running throughout the map depicts the path taken by the pilgrims. One can see the depiction of flora and fauna around the journey. And to the extreme right of the third map is the Badrinath temple, which is the final destination of the pilgrimage. This Pichwai depicts the Srinath temple complex at Nathdwara, composed from a series of courtyards including the various shrines, palaces, and several service rooms within a bastioned boundary wall and with one main gate at the heart of the town. The complex follows the architectural tradition of a large Rajasthani mansion or haveli, rather than the traditional North Indian or the South Indian Hindu temples. It is hence often referred as the Nathdwara Haveli by devotees. The Haveli plan was a popular subject for both paintings and Pichwais, particularly in demand by visiting pilgrimages to take it back as mementos to their visit and did not otherwise serve as a particular religious purpose. This plan depicts the occurrence of the Ankuta festival, the day after Diwali, which is the most important festival for the Vallabha sect. Various courtyards are in use, while mounds of food are presented to the Srinathji, devotees and cow crowd in the Govardhan Chowk, where the image of the Navneet Priyaji presides over the Govardhan Puja. Devotees are also walking towards the white coat or the Dholi Priya to gain access to the inner shrines. Unlike most of the Haveli plans, the depiction of the Haveli and its associated ownscape is shown in a wider pilgrimage landscape also, setting on the Braj country amidst holy streams, shrines, villages, and palace complexes. This is a sacred map of the town of Puri, which is shown in the shape of a Vishnu conch or the shrunk, with the temple at its heart. Jagannatha is the Lord of the world, a form of Krishna worshipped at the famous shrine of Puri together with his brother Balabhadra and the sister Subhadra. The cult is a classic example of the characteristic ability of Hinduism to absorb the popular local or even tribal cult into the mainstream. The present great temple at Puri was built in the 12th century to house these three images that, on the account of exigencies of the rituals to which they are subject to regular repainted and renewed by hereditary caste of painters, who are also responsible for painting the Anavasara Patras or painted representation placed in the shrine when the main divinities are taken out during the Rath Yatra. The same painter families also create various types of mementos for pilgrims to take away with them. This type of Shankavali Pata shows a conceptualized realization of the temple, its images, and the whole of the sacred Puri city. This is the Pichwai, which depicts the pilgrimage landscape of Braj, the district around Mathura on the banks of the river Yamuna, and includes the sacred sites associated with Krishna's boyhood and the discovery of Srinathji image. It shows the route for religious processions or Raj Yatra, which the pilgrimage undertake every year, lasting several weeks. Commencing from Mathura, the birthplace of Krishna, the devotees move to a clockwise direction around the city. After visiting the villages of Mahavana and Gokul, the pilgrims recross the Yamuna and return to Mathura and the spot of Krishna's victory over the evil king Kansa. Devotees should ideally visit 36 groves on their pilgrimage and in temple of the Ballava sect. For these devotees who cannot take the trip, this Pichwai serves as a pilgrimage cosmology as by proxy. This is again another modern map of Braj, showing the different vanas and the temples around the town. Pilgrimage maps show different faiths, traditions that coexist in India, such as the Hinduism, Buddhism, Jainism, Islam, Christianity, Sikhism, etc. They also show different regional and linguistic variations that shape the identity and culture of India. There are also Mughal era Hajj maps which were depicted the pilgrimage of Makkah. On the left side, left side you can see the Yatra to the Hajj, and on the right one of the Haridwar. These are all modern maps. So basically, the maps have now, with the advent of technology, maps have now been updated and shared digitally, making it easier for pilgrims to find their way. The maps can be modified, made to more easily follow the specific routes, easier routes, and keeping up with the no technology breakthroughs, ensuring that each journey is authentically recorded and commemorated. Pilgrimage maps have also shown advancement of technology and science in India, printing technology, survey technology, as well as interaction with religion and has interacted with religion and culture. With science, survey, and mapping, things are no more the same. They have also shown the innovation, creativity of the map makers in using different tools and methods to represent the land and its features. Thus, you will see the mid 20th century maps being produced very, very differently than the earlier hand-painted ones. In the end of this presentation, with a thought, has the technology taken away the art of making experiential maps, maps which could be used as proxy for pilgrims and means of attaining moksha? Thank you.
ఈ వీడియో మీకు నచ్చినట్టయితే లైక్ చేయండి, 10 మందికి షేర్ చేయండి. అలాగే కామెంట్ల రూపంలో మీ అభిప్రాయాలను మాతో పంచుకోండి. నేషనలిస్ట్ హబ్ గ్రూప్ ఆఫ్ ఛానల్స్ ను సబ్స్క్రైబ్ చేసుకుని తెలుగునాట జాతీయవాద జర్నలిజాన్ని ప్రోత్సహించండి. ఈ వీడియో కింద ఉన్న బెల్ ఐకాన్ పై క్లిక్ చేయడం మర్చిపోవద్దు.